Hey there, Seahawks, it's Miss Adams, and in this video we're going to talk about factoring out a greatest common factor. Alright, so what is factoring? Factoring is when we are separating a polynomial back into a product. So we have 4a squared plus 8a. That would be in its simplified form. And if I could pull out, they both have a 4a in common. If I pull that out, I have 4a and a plus 2. So it's kind of like reverse distribution. Prime is a polynomial that cannot be factored. And then the steps for factoring out a greatest common factor. So to identify the greatest common factor, you're going to check the coefficients, all right, for the biggest number that goes into all of the terms evenly. Then you're going to look at the variables for any variables that all the terms have in common. If the variable is present in all the terms, you're going to take out the one with the smallest exponent. And then divide each term by the greatest common factor and leave the remaining factor in parentheses. If you want to check your work, you would distribute and see if you get the same thing you started with. Alright, factor each polynomial. If it cannot be factored, write prime. So I have 3x plus 12. They both have a 3 in common, so I could pull out a 3. 3 goes into 3x one time, and that leaves me with the x. And 3 goes into 12 4 times, so I'm left with x plus 4. The next one, I have 7y minus 7. Well, they have a 7 in common that I could pull out. And when I divide everything by 7, that leaves me with a y minus 1. 8m plus 36n. So they have an m and an n, so they don't have the same variable in both terms, so I can't pull out a letter. And then 8 doesn't go into 36, but 4 goes into 8, and 4 also goes into 36. So I could pull out a 4. And when I divide 8m by 4, that leaves me with a 2m. And when I divide 36n by 4, that leaves me with 9n. So my factors are 4 and 2m plus 9n. 4y squared minus 24y. So I can pull out a 4, and they also both have a y in common, so I can pull out 1y. They each at least have 1y in them. So when I pull out the 4 and the 1y, that leaves me with a y minus 24 divided by 4 gives me 6, and y divided by y is gone. So my factors are 4y and y minus 6. Then I have 14gh minus 18h. Well, I can pull out an h, and I can also pull out a 2, goes into 14 and 18. So when I divide everything by 2h, that leaves me with the 7g minus 9. 15a squared b minus 30ab. Well, they both have an a and a b. And 15 goes into 15 and also into 30. So I can pull out a 15ab. That would leave me with just an a minus just a 2. A, b minus a. They both have an a I can pull out. That would leave me with b minus 1. A divided by a is 1. 16bc squared plus 24bc. They both have a b and a c. I can also pull out an 8 from the 16 and an 8 from the 24. So that's going to leave me with 2. 8 goes into 16 twice. The b's cancel, and I'm left with still 1c. Plus 8 goes into 24 3 times, and then the b and the c cancel. 9, I have 5x minus 13y. Well, there isn't a number that goes into 5 that also goes into 13. And one of the terms has an x and the other has a y, so they don't share any variables either. So this one would be prime. And on 10, I have 3 terms. I have 35a squared minus 20ab squared plus 15a. Well, 5 goes into all of them. They also all have at least one a, so I can pull out a 5a. If I do 35a squared and I divide it by 5a, I get 7a. 5 goes into 20 4 times, and I'm also going to be left with those 2 b's, so b squared. And 5 goes into 15 3 times, and the a's cancel. So there's my factors.